You and I want to be successful, we want to be safe, we want to be with Idaho. It's a family-friendly place where all can prosper, live good living, retire comfortably. That's what we're doing in Idaho, and that's what we'll do in the next 4 years. With your help. Thank you very much.
For our next candidates, go ahead, come on in. You will all have 3 minutes. As you're entering the stage, you'll all have 3 minutes to share what voters need to know to confidently choose you. All of you will have 3 minutes to make your statement. We're going to have a 1-minute follow-up. Let's start with Justin Plant.
My name is Justin Plant. I've been in Idaho for 30 plus years. I live in Kimberly. I work in Twin Falls as a mechanic. I started looking at the government, the way it was being run, and decided we needed to do some repairs on it, and maybe a mechanic would be a good fit for this. I started researching and found a bunch of programs that should be already done. The first one is auditing. We should be auditing our government at every levels, all sections, be it highway district, schools, everything. Everything needs to be audited top to bottom. Then it needs to be way more transparent than it is. Transparent Idaho is a good start, but we really need to push this to the next level. Every dime that they take from us working class people should be tracked and shown where our money's going. The third thing, and I think one of the biggest, is citizens task forces. With the swipe of a pen, I can bring in task forces in all positions in the government entities, schools, highway division, and we can have 1,000 sets of eyes bringing forward the problems that we all see in day-to-day life, and have them have an effective way of reaching the governor or the AG with problems they find, instead of just screaming into the void. The last is accountability. Using those first 3 things, we can hold the people in government, myself included if you vote me in, to performing what we say we're going to do. If we stand up here and promise you something, we should be able to back that up. By doing the research and finding out what the governor's job is, I have found ways that I can actually do the job without promising you the world and still have very good results that can lead into our kids' future and our grandchildren's future. Thank you.
Mark Fitzpatrick.
Thank you. You have a great voice, sir. I have great news, you guys, from the campaign trail. By the way, I'm Mark Fitzpatrick. I'm running for governor. Great news from the campaign trail. We've driven 8,000 miles. I have been to 57 in-person events and talked to thousands of people. It's resulted in endorsements that are coming in at a fast rate. We have 7 endorsements from Republican Central Committees across Idaho, and there's only been 7 given, so I have 100% of them. That means Brad Little has 0. We're also endorsed by Conservatives Of, which is a great group that's reviewing people who are running, and several other endorsements coming in, including Sheriff Kendrick, and I found out today Sheriff Mack, the Sheriff Mack, which is awesome news. Momentum is growing and it's exciting, but when I go around and meet thousands of people across Idaho and shake their hand, it usually comes to one point that everybody's worried about, is that they just want truth. We've been through years, these last several years, of just seeing how wicked and corrupt and deceptive our world has become, and how corruption has been sown into the very deep fabric of our society. And we need people who will step up. You need to elect people who will step up and stand for truth. So a little bit about me. First and foremost, I'm a Christian, and I love my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ with all my heart, with all my mind, and with all my soul. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Sarah. Of 23 years we've been married, and I'm madly in love with her. I have 6 children. We homeschool them. I'm a retired police officer. I worked 15 years as a police officer. I'm also very entrepreneurial and have started, founded, and ran several companies, including hiring hundreds and employing hundreds of people and firing some as well. One of the companies that I currently have is Old State Saloon. We became famous for celebrating heterosexual awesomeness instead of celebrating Pride Month in June of 24. I gained enemies across the state and across the world, and I gained followers across the state and across the world. I learned a lot about wickedness and getting death threats and everything else, but you know what I did? I doubled down, and I kept standing for what's right and for what's true in the midst of the threats and the disgustingness of everything, and I'm thankful for the people who stood by me that whole time. I didn't know why I did it. I didn't know why I did all that stuff while it was happening, but it occurred to me this November. This November, when I was thinking about who's running for governor, and somebody needs to run against Brad Little, it clicked. That's why I went through all that, to prepare myself and my family for this. We are at a founding fathers moment in our history, ladies and gentlemen. We need to elect people who will stand for what is right and true and do that in a way that they are willing to risk their life, their fortunes, and everything that they have. And that's what I am saying to you today. I will risk everything for what is right and true. And I ask you to vote for me, Mark Fitzpatrick, for governor, and you can see my website at markfitzidaho.com.
Ron James.
My name is Ron James. I'm a Teton County Commissioner, small business owner, and I'm running for governor because I've seen something firsthand that needs to change. Idaho's growing, Idaho's strong, but our counties, the backbone of the state, are being stretched too thin. We're on the front lines of that. And if our counties aren't strong, Idaho won't be either. Let me tell you what I'm seeing on the ground as a commissioner. I see roads wearing down faster than we can fix them. I see pressure on law enforcement and rural hospitals. I see families being told they're getting tax relief while the local costs will keep going up. And let's be honest, when the state cuts funding and shifts the burden to the counties, that's not tax relief. That's a tax shift. And the Idaho families are paying for it. Why I'm running for governor is one simple idea. Strong counties, strong Idaho. Because real strength does not start in Boise. It starts in our communities where people live, work, and raise their families. Last but not least, let me make it short, Boise does not need more politics, Idaho does not need more politics, it needs results. Because when our counties are strong, Idaho is strong. The last thing I'm leaving with, like I said, I'm a commissioner for Teton County. That county was blue for 12 years. We flipped it, we made it red. So there you go. Thank you.
Lisa Marie.
Thank you. I want to just start out with everyone, please, that Michael Vaughn is still missing. If you're not familiar with Michael Vaughn, you need to be. Michael Vaughn's body needs to be found. And if you would go to Michael Vaughn, you just Google everything up, and I'm taking a few minutes to do this because it's that vitally important. Well, our world, our nation is in a dire situation, is it not? And does anyone know that I even ran, starting in 2014, for U.S. House of Representatives? Well, there we go. So in 2014, I ran for U.S. House of Representatives. It was Raul and I. 2016, I was the only one running with Mike Simpson. And how did I acquire 27.9% of the votes, and I only spent $300 for my declaration of candidacy? You're looking at a mommy, an entrepreneur. I stood on this stage in 1981 and danced. And how many years later, I've actually been running for the highest elected positions because I love my state. In 1978, my mom and I moved here with 14 boxes, 2 bikes, a one-way ticket because I talked my mom into moving to Idaho, believe it or not. I love our state like there's no tomorrow, and you're gonna see me everywhere. And the reason for that is because in 2007, when I actually announced that I was gonna run for governor, I was actually told, you're gonna get blacklisted because we don't want a woman governor. Now let me give you a little more history. In 2005, our state was picked the entrepreneurial state out of all 50. And they were giving the centerfold picture to some of those entrepreneurs, and I was one of those 8. So my mom did a great job, because not only did Idaho land the U.S. News and World Report, her little girl was in the Senate. And what I want to say to you is that when your companies get that big, you really start seeing who controls the world. And if you just Google me, there's not much more I can tell you about me, other than the fact that I love this state, I'm a great entrepreneur, I've never stopped running. So if you go into Ballotpedia and you look up Lisa Marie, you'll see all my votes. I am not going to stop. And if all of you just say, is she just running to find Michael Vaughn? Maybe that's it. Because you know we have over 1,000 children missing a day. Now in 2018, I want to take 15 seconds and say, I love Royal Labrador. The reason why is because we would go travel all over the state, thousands of miles I was driving, and they would just let every governor candidate go up and they would forget about me. I'm like, wait a minute. Well, I'd have to go up and see. I'm like, I'm running, everybody. Okay, we can have a girl that's a governor. Thank you.
Sean Crystal.
First off, thank everybody for coming out today. It's awesome to see so many of you here, so many of you caring about our politics. So I've got my campaign, Elevate Idaho, on honoring the past and shaping our future. The core of that is restoring accountability, strengthening our communities, and protecting liberty. It's built on policy framework such as water rights, infrastructure, sensible cannabis policy, protecting our children, investing in them, agriculture, and many more. This is a 53-page document that I have built explaining my policy to Idahoans, something I haven't seen from other candidates. It's easy to come up on the stage and talk about the policies, but it's a lot harder to present real work. When I jumped into politics, I jumped in because Idaho deserves leadership that's honest about the challenges that we're facing and is serious about fixing them. Too often in modern politics, we see platforms built around slogans, vague promises, and ideas that sound good in a campaign speech, but then disappear once we elect our officials. That approach might win headlines on the state or national level, but it does very little to move our state forward. My platform was built differently. Every section in my guide reflects a principle that runs through the entire document. Government should work for the people, not the other way around. We are your employees. When government grows beyond that role, problems begin to appear everywhere, in spending, in regulation, in education, and in the way we as citizens interact with the institutions that are supposed to represent us. My goal isn't to expand government power or create another layer of bureaucracy. It's not to solve every problem in people's lives. My goal is to restore the balance of the systems of powers by strengthening the areas where government actually belongs and returning authority and opportunity back to the communities, families, and individuals who built our state in the first place. That means restoring fiscal discipline so taxpayers are not constantly asked to fund unchecked growth. It means strengthening education while putting families back at the center of those decisions, because if we can't invest in our youth, what's our future look like? It means building an economy that rewards innovation and respects the hard work and local entrepreneurship instead of political favoritism. It means protecting the things that have always mattered to Idahoans: strong families, safe communities, responsible stewardship of our land and our water, and a government that respects the constitutional limits that were placed on it. Idaho has always been a place where independence, responsibility, and community matter. Those values built our state, and they can guide it forward if we're willing to return to and defend them. The future of Idaho should not be shaped by political convenience or outside influence, something we currently see with Governor Brad Little taking all of his donations this year so far from out-of-state benefactors. Thank you.
Daniel Flower.
Hello, y'all. Somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago if I was going to be a serious candidate. I remember, and yes, I'm going to be a serious candidate. My name is Daniel C. Fowler. I'm a working father. I live in Nampa right now, but I moved here from Texas in 2020. In the time that I've been here, I fell in love with Idaho. It's a beautiful state, and I want to keep it that way. Now, I believe in three things above all else: family, government, and real affordability. We need smaller government that stops wasting money. We can cut lobbyist perks, merge overlapping commissions, and redirect those dollars back into Idaho roads, farms, and bring skilled labor back into Idaho, the state that we love. We don't need to raise taxes because smarter spending is going to be the answer. I want real affordability for working families. Out-of-state corporations are coming in and they're buying up all of our single-family homes and turning them into high-priced rentals or using them for employee housing. I'll put a stop to that. We have Section 8 here in Idaho, and I believe cities and counties should be and have control over those things. But I do believe that we need to make sure that we are monitoring that, making sure that the families that are working and earning their living to be in those homes are actually paying fair rent with those buildings. I want to bring skilled labor back to Idaho. Too many able-bodied adults are stuck in low-wage jobs that are actually meant for teenagers. We can give them real incentives to move into trades, agriculture, and good-paying careers so that they can pay for their future here. On education, I want strong public schools that actually teach fundamentals: reading, writing, math, science, and history, starting from kindergarten all the way up to high school. No homework overload on those students. Bring in daily movement breaks for them so that they can get the exercise throughout the day that they need to keep their mind sharp. I want to remove the bureaucracy from a lot of the schools and put parents in charge of the schools, because that's what we're missing. I see a lot of times on online forums and stuff where parents go in and they're being ignored, or they're even being removed from the school board meetings. Parents need to be in charge of the schools. When it comes to pro-life, I'm 100% for that, and that's all you need to know on that. Finally, I own guns, and I want to protect the right for everybody to own those guns. If you recently had an FFL in the past 90 days getting your firearm from a school or a store, then you know what? You shouldn't have to go through another 90 days. We need to speed up the process for people to get their CCWs. I appreciate your time. Thank you. I look forward to talking to all of you.
I'm going to give you all a chance to think about your answer for this. You have 60 seconds. What is one meaningful difference between you and the others in this race, and why should that matter to voters? Okay, so what's one meaningful difference between you and someone else on or off stage, and why should it matter to everybody else here tonight voting throughout the state? So, we're going to go in reverse order. Daniel Fowler.
Well, what makes me different, I've met a few of these fine people here, and I don't know if I'm all too different other than the fact that I work a 9-to-5 job. I came here today straight from work. I barely had time to change and talk. But that's what I represent, and that's who I'm going to represent.
I'm not a candidate that's funded by big PACs, lobbyist money, or corporations. As Pinocchio said, there are strings on others, but as you see, there are no strings on me. I'm not going to run our government on fringe ideas or flat earth conspiracies. I'm going to run our government on accountability for the people that elect me to serve. And that's you, Idahoans, and no one else. You're the people I'm accountable to. I want to answer your questions. Hard, easy, agreed, disagreed. I want to know what's important to Idahoans and how we can fix it together. So on May 19th, I, Sean Crystal, ask for your vote for governor so that we together can elevate Idaho.
Thank you. Well, obviously, I'm a female, and I am a mother, and I am an entrepreneur. I can take pressure like there's no tomorrow. If no one knows my companies, I actually had a bridal shop. I employed high school children, seniors, and college students. Why are those children not voting? Why are there only 2 out of 10 people voting? There is a problem. And what I can tell you right now, as a mom, I know what's going on. I love my opponents. I've been calling them and we hang out. But what I'm telling you, the difference that you get with me is I started my company from the bottom up. I was super poor, made an awful lot of money, and I keep putting my money out there. So you don't see me spending money on a campaign. I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on trying to make sure that our children are okay, not just missing. That's where I put all my attention. But when you are a CEO and you are running companies that are worth millions and millions of dollars, you better know how to delegate. Thank you very much in Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Again, my name is Ron James. I am a Teton County Commissioner. I'm on the front lines. I work and balance budgets for our county. I have practical political experience in the state of Idaho. This last legislative session, I worked on 2 bills with our legislative body. One was for short-term rentals, which you all know, by the way. We have 10,000 short-term rentals in our state that generate about $1.16 billion in revenue, and our counties are not allowed to capture any of that revenue. Second bill we worked on was with Senator Harris. We tried to get a bill passed that would allow the ranchers and farmers to break off 1 to 5 acres for their direct family members and keep those ranches and farms alive. Without going through the subdivision process, which takes about 2 years and $1 million. And we didn't quite get that across the finish line. We're working with the Farm Bureau for next year already to try to get that across the finish line so we can keep our young people here and keep our farms and ranches alive. And I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Mark Fitzpatrick. This room should be packed. We have been given by God a government that is amazing. A government that puts the power with the people rather than a ruler who will rule in an evil way over us. And the fact of the matter is that we are not nearly involved. So what I'm going to do is use creativity and imagination, and I'm going to be diligent to stand in front of the people to rally them to be involved. There's some things I'm worried about with Donald Trump, but one thing I love about him is that he rallies the people. We need to be good stewards and play a part and a role in our government so that we can witness and see the corruption that's there and vote in and out the people who will stand for righteousness and truth. We are currently heading towards a socialist dumpster fire under our current governor, Brad Little, and it needs to change. Elect me and I will make it happen. Mark Fitzpatrick, thank you.
So the thing that makes me different is all I've done is fix things my whole life. Government's no different. All we gotta do is get the right person to work on the problems. It's easy to study new equipment. The government's no different. I will put the time, the effort into figuring out what we can do as a state to improve our lives. That's the whole job of the governor, is to improve the citizens' lives. I just really have to iterate that. We don't need more of the same. We don't need ideology. We need somebody to get the job done. And that's what I've done for 40 years. My site's idahoansfirst.com. Please vote for me for mayor or governor. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, just a couple seconds, you'll see a QR code. This is for the office of governor. Sorry, I had to. This is for the office of governor. Go ahead, take part in the straw poll. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you. Guys ready for more speeches? Cool. All right. Now it's time for candidates for our statewide office. They share a building together. They're all here on stage now. Gentlemen, are we okay with enacting chivalry? Very good. We're going to start with our treasurer, Julie Ellsworth.
I am
you to come out, that you came out tonight. I know how hard it is. Most of us barely made it for that 6 o'clock hour. And I want to thank the people that organized this, because that's just a headache, and I thank you. My name is Julie Ellsworth. I am the Idaho State Treasurer. I've been the treasurer for 7 years. I love my job. Previous to that, I served in the Idaho legislature for 12 years. And let's see, Secretary McGrain and I both went to high school here, except I probably went a long time before you did. It's fun to come back and see how nicely they preserved it. What does a state treasurer do, and how exciting that you get to hear about the state treasurer. I know you are going to write home about it. The treasurer manages all the money that comes into state government. And let me tell you why it's important. There's a division between me and Brandon. Brandon's the controller. I'm accounts receivable, he's accounts payable. Have you been listening to that stuff that's been happening in Minnesota recently about all the fraud? Let me tell you what Minnesota did. They decided to do away with elected treasurer and controller. They put it under the governor as a duty. Our Constitution separates those duties. Constitutionally, isn't that just beautiful that they would know that in the 1800s to separate it? That happened in about 2008 in Minnesota. Well, who's watching the shop? It's all under the governor. Well, I love working with Brandon. Brandon is a check on what I do, and I'm a check on what Brandon does. I am grateful for those divisions in power. How much more time do I have? I love my job. I love serving you. I'm on the second floor of the Capitol building. You can come at any time you want. And last year, my office returned $566 million in interest earnings back to you, the Idaho taxpayers, because we managed the money the way that it should be managed. I have a report card showing how money is handled in my office. I quite love it, but I realize that's kind of a nerdy thing. You can get a framed copy if you come and see me, and I thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker will be Attorney General Raul Labrador.
Thank you. I'm Attorney General Raul Labrador. It's an honor to be here. You know, I think this is such a great process, watching all the different candidates, all the different people that are trying to serve the people of Idaho. And a lot of people are obviously not going to win in this election, but I'm heartened by the fact that people are willing to put their name forward, to put their treasurer forward, and to put their reputations forward so they can actually try to serve the people of Idaho and do the best that they can to encourage you to vote for them. I've been doing this for a little bit. I was a state legislator, then I went to Congress for 8 years, and now I am your Attorney General, and I've been honored to be in all those positions. And the reason I'm asking for your vote is because I'm really excited about the work that we're doing in the Office of Attorney General, and I want to continue doing that for you. As your Attorney General, we've been able to revamp the Office of Attorney General. I promised you 4 years ago that I was going to change the way the Office of the Attorney General was being managed, and I think I have done it, and I've done it effectively. I'll give you just a couple of examples. We have been working on ICAC cases. If you know anything about ICAC, it's our Internet Crimes Against Children unit. This is where we go after the horrible people that are out there that are exchanging online pictures and messages about children. And we have been able to increase fourfold the number of arrests in our office and in the state of Idaho because of the work that our office is doing, and I'm very proud of that. We have always also been representing the state of Idaho in the courts. A lot of people ask, what is the Attorney General do? My job is to represent the state in the courts, to represent the state when we're doing contracts, to do all the things that are necessary to ensure that the state of Idaho has great legal representation. And we have been doing a really good job of that. We're winning more cases. We've taken a couple of cases to the U.S. Supreme Court. And right now we're waiting for a decision that's going to come from the U.S. Supreme Court on the boys and girls sports. As most of you know, Idaho was the first state in the union that passed a law protecting girls in sports. And we went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, and I expect a pretty good decision in the next few months, and I'm proud that we were able to go to the U.S. Supreme Court on that. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I hope I have earned your trust and your support. I'm Raul Labrador, and I'm your Attorney General. Thank you.
Our next speaker, who shall be properly introduced, Secretary of State Phil McGrain.
Thank you, Nate. It is my honor and privilege to serve as your Secretary of State. I'm Phil McGrain, and my background is in elections. I think one of the greatest things here is the thing that brings us all together tonight is that elections matter. We know that. And I think it's one of the really important things. I've spent my entire career dedicated to the integrity of Idaho's elections. And when you think about all the people who are moving here to our state, we're one of the fastest growing states, and it's because of our values and the integrity of the people and the work that we do as a state. And it's been a privilege to work with this team up here and to work with all the county clerks throughout the state to make sure that when you go to the polls and you vote, you can have confidence that your vote's going to count. And just to highlight that and the significance of why being here matters, and why I appreciate you taking the time, is just in the 2024 cycle, we had a race that was determined by 4 votes. That shows that every vote matters and every vote counts. And I can't tell you the number of times throughout my career that I've had the opportunity to be with candidates in recounts that were hotly contested. Heck, I've even determined, some of you are precinct committee people, I've determined ties by flipping a coin. It shows the importance of what we do, and we need people to be engaged. And as your Secretary of State, I've helped ensure that the integrity of our elections will constantly shine throughout the entire nation. And I've had the privilege to share what we're doing in Idaho in other states to try and improve the system, not just here, but across the country. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. We've got so many great resources in terms of the things that we've done. We've enhanced photo ID requirements here in the state of Idaho. We've banned ballot harvesting. We've banned connectivity to the internet in our election system. And maybe more importantly, we've enhanced things like voteidaho.gov to make sure that there's information for voters. Just like what the Ada County GOP is doing here tonight, is to make sure voters are informed, that they know when elections are happening, they know who's running, and they can make an informed decision about who they're going to vote for. I'm a first-generation Idahoan. I love this state. It truly is an honor to serve as your Secretary of State. I really hope that you'll have the opportunity to earn your vote and continue to do this important work so that we can all have confidence, not just for voting for Secretary of State, but for all these races that you're hearing about tonight and at the other forums to come. So thank you all for organizing this tonight.
Idaho State Controller Brandon Wolf.
Thank you and good evening. I also want to thank the Ada County GOP for hosting us tonight and putting this all together. And it takes a lot of work and effort, and thank you to you that are here tonight as a crowd. As has been shared, participating and being engaged is everything. I want to thank my wife who's here with me tonight. She's my 3rd grade sweetheart from Preston. I grew up on a dairy farm down there, and having her and her support means everything. She's also precinct committee chairwoman that I have to bow down to in a 1512, and thank her for her work and service. I get to sit in the back of the Ada County meetings and just enjoy the visits, but I appreciate the work that takes place by our PCs and all the things that they do each day. This is a great team here, and I know that they appreciate your work and services they've shared. As the treasurer said, as Julie said, as a controller, my mom sometimes wishes, what in the world do you even do on a daily basis? So from the standpoint of what's been shared by several candidates tonight, it's about trust. Trust in government is at an all-time low. It's been mentioned by several about accountability, about transparency. I've been at the office, I started there 29 years ago as an intern, and I've been the controller for the last few years. But we've had Transparent Idaho since 2013, and it was always my vision to have that there and available for us. But part of that vision was to take that one step further and to work with the cities, the counties, the school districts. And I can share with you now that we have the 44 counties, 198 cities, 193 93 school districts and charters. And just last April, we added 30 million rows of 198 school districts and all their data. We're opening the books. I've been the president of the National Association of State Controllers president the past a few years ago. And our push was to share how can we help take Transparent Idaho and share that same vision and direction to the other 49 states. We are a pioneer and we have a lot more to do. And with your help, I'd love to continue to have that, and I'd love to have your vote on May 19th. And all of us would love to have your vote on November 3rd as well. So thank you and God bless.
Thank you all. Somebody did applaud, but at this, I gotta tell you, you guys actually don't. You guys are running unopposed. I know you said not everyone's gonna run, but I'm pretty sure it's safe to say you're all gonna be the Republican nominee. So, that being said, thank them for being here tonight. Quick follow-up, and you have 60 seconds, or less, to answer this. What's one challenge in your role that voters may not be aware of? All right, I'll give you a second to think about it. What's one challenge in your current job that not everyone's going to know? So, we'll go in reverse order. Brandon Wolf.
I think I shared a little bit about it. Is what is the controller? And when our Idaho Constitution was created back in July 1890, the question was, should we have a controller, a treasurer, and a secretary of state be combined with the governor and in the governor's office? And I shared the same thing with the vetting committee. So I share with you tonight, there's a reason why that there is a purpose of having